In the dead of night, a man named George waits patiently in his car outside of a bicycle shop. His co-worker Scott appears to ask George about when they plan on moving in for their mission. George is dismissive and tells Scott that their line of work benefits more from precision accuracy than speed. Scott simply nods his head and lights a cigarette as snipers get into place on the roof. Once the manager of the shop leaves, George and Scott enter the shop to find the janitor, Joseph, at work. Joseph looks unsettled at the men's sudden appearance and tells them the shop is closed. However, they inform the janitor that they are there with some questions for him, only making Joseph panic more. George tells Joseph that they are aware he is using a fake ID, and Scott showcases his weapon to assert himself. Joseph claims he was made a monster but hasn't hurt anyone and refuses to go back with them. His eyes glow blue, and George warns him against violence. Joseph throws his mop at George as a distraction and makes a run for the exit. The men quickly give chase and follow Joseph into a big storage room, brandishing their deadly stun baton weapons. Joseph tries to escape through the building's back exit but gets cornered by two more people with similar weapons. Backed into a corner, Joseph uses his incredible super strength to leap through an opening in the ceiling. Now on the roof, Joseph continues to escape but is stopped by the snipers and a drone. George and the others enter the roof and try to subdue Joseph with their weapons. Joseph fends them off with his strength and takes one of his attackers hostage to try and escape. George talks Joseph down long enough to distract him with the drone again. Joseph releases his hostage and is easily overpowered by the four attackers and their weapons. Once Joseph is barely conscious, George gives the order, and Joseph is injected with a serum to weaken his powers, making him fall unconscious. In an auto shop, a girl named Anna helps her boss, Danny, by fixing a car using her powers in secret. Suddenly, though, a mysterious car pulls up, and intimidating men step out. Danny tells Anna to busy herself in the back of the shop, and she obeys but appears concerned. Elsewhere, Joseph is now being held in a high-security government facility. George observes Joseph's misery and is met by his superior, Captain Williams. Williams congratulates George on a job well done capturing the dangerous Enhanced, who is referred to as a Bravo class. He goes on to detail how dangerous and detrimental these superpowered Enhanced are, saying they often end up killing many people. This makes George question what Joseph said at the bicycle shop about not hurting anyone, and Williams simply states that Enhanced can never be trusted and will always lie for their freedom. Williams then tells George about a highly classified case in which an Enhanced serial killer is ending other Enhanced for unknown reasons. When questioned further by George, Williams reveals that they currently know nothing about this Enhanced killer other than the fact that they possess incredible power and only seem to target their own kind. Later, Williams gives George and his team a comprehensive debriefing on the importance of their mission to capture Enhanced individuals. He informs the squad of the statistics, stating that a number of Bravo and Charlie class Enhanced are still loose, with several weaker Delta class also unaccounted for. An agent asks Williams if there are any Alpha class Enhanced roaming free, and Williams confirms that Alpha class is a myth and one has never existed. Williams then mentions the Enhanced serial killer, alarming the team. Another agent jokes that the Enhanced killer is actually aiding them and gets reprimanded. Williams reminds the agents that their mission is only to capture and contain Enhanced individuals for the safety of society, but they do not kill. He advises caution during following encounters with Enhanced subjects and dismisses the squad. Meanwhile, Anna walks toward a scrapyard, carefully monitoring her surroundings to ensure she's not being followed. She enters a van, which is actually her home, and eats while staring hopelessly at a map with a pin in China. Suddenly, a car pulls up with a man who was previously following Anna. The man simply watches the van for some time before driving off. The following day, those intimidating men return to Anna's work, looking for Danny. Their leader, Marco, reveals the fake passport meant for Anna so she can fulfill her goal of moving to China. However, Marco declares that he suddenly wants more money, or the deal is off. Shocked, Danny doesn't agree to Marco's new demands, and Marco instructs his men to hold Danny while he beats him. This angers Anna, who refuses to sit idly by and watch her friend be hurt. She uses her powers to easily dispose of the men, but during the scuffle, Danny ends up getting shot. Anna calls for an ambulance as Danny loses blood, questioning Anna on her amazing abilities. Anna only manages to muster an apology before grabbing her fake passport and leaving in a hurry. Meanwhile, George and Scott intercept a strange energy signal using a machine that can detect when nearby enhanced use their powers. The two agents track the signal to the scrapyard just as Anna arrives there. She enters her van, and Scott prepares the drone while they wait for backup. But before Scott can send out the drone, the man from the previous day drives up to Anna's van. Anna recognizes the man and questions him for following her. The man attempts to explain himself and show Anna something in his jacket, but Anna uses her powers to scare him, and he leaves. George calls in for urgent backup, and they follow Anna as she drives away in her van. By nightfall, Anna notices the car tailing her and makes a quick turn off the highway and towards a farm, causing George and Scott to lose sight of her near a cornfield. The agents use the drone to relocate Anna as their backup arrives to intercept if necessary. An EMP shuts down all technology, including the drone and Anna's car. Anna gets out and checks her engine, but a strange man named David appears, claiming Anna has something of his. When a van full of agents converges on Anna, David mysteriously disappears, and Anna gets back into her van. The agents approach, and George orders Anna to calmly exit her vehicle with her hands up, and she complies. Scott then searches Anna's van and finds her passport, handing it to George. George questions Anna on her plans in China and the dead bodies in the auto shop, believing she is responsible for all 4 of the men's deaths. Anna pleads her case, asserting that she didn't kill Danny and actually tried to help him as they were friends. Remembering Williams's warnings against enhanced and their tendency to lie, George doesn't believe Anna and orders his squad to tase her. Anna uses her powers to blow everyone away from her and runs through the crops. She manages to reach a barn on the outskirts of the farm, but George follows close behind her while his squad is seemingly picked off one by one. Inside the barn, Anna surprises George and gets the upper hand with her powers. However, George turns the tables on Anna by momentarily blinding her with a flashbang. George quickly moves to inject Anna with the weakening serum but gets knocked out by David, revealing that he's enhanced and the one responsible for offing George's squad. David drives Anna and George to a secure location in the car. Anna recognizes David as the one responsible for freeing her and the other enhanced from the facility where George works. Scott calls Williams to inform him of the mission's hitches and George's capture. This prompts Williams to send further backup and temporarily put Scott in command of the squad. Now at a safe house, David ties George to a chair and wakes him up with water on his face to begin the interrogation. David questions George on the location of the other enhanced. When George refuses to answer, however, David tortures him with his powers. With nothing to show for his efforts, David prepares to end George, but Anna stops him. She suggests David give her some time to extract information from George, and David agrees. Now alone with George, Anna questions him on why he's after her. George simply states that it's his job because she's a dangerous criminal who has killed in the past. George cites the file he read on Anna, revealing that she killed several people, including her parents and therapist. Anna calls these claims lies and informs George that she was actually taken away from her parents forcefully by a government organization named CISA, the people George works for. She was only 4 years old when this happened, and she was experimented on until she gained superpowers. Anna goes on to say that CISA trained her to use her powers to kill and would punish her severely if she didn't comply. Furthermore, her therapist was neutralized by CISA because she was overly affectionate towards Anna, giving her the name Anna rather than referring to her by her code name of numbers and letters. George listens but doesn't believe Anna, even though he admits there's a lot CISA keeps hidden from him. Later, Scott and his team attempt to track down Anna and George but are alarmed when their device picks up the energy signature of an Alpha-class enhanced. This confuses Scott, as Williams assured him that Alpha-class enhanced are a myth. Pursuing the signal, the squad is met with David, who immediately begins eliminating the CISA agents with ease. Scott manages to tase David, and they subdue him long enough to inject him with the serum. However, this has no effect on David, who generates a shockwave, taking out Scott's team. Scott runs and manages to escape on a snowmobile. Meanwhile, in the safe house, George tells Anna she should let him go. He says that she can't trust David and suggests that he is the enhanced serial killer, eliminating his own kind. Before George can continue, Joseph approaches outside on a snowmobile and enters the safe house to attack Anna. He has a strange red device in his neck. As he attempts to eliminate Anna on sight, George breaks free of the chair he was tied to and aids Anna with his taser and the serum. Once Joseph is defeated, George seems to be on Anna's side, as he states that he was told Joseph would be executed. Anna adds that the red device in Joseph's neck is a form of mind control device that she's seen used before in the CISA facility. She tells George that CISA only wants to capture enhanced to turn them into mindless living superweapons. Seeing undeniable proof that what Anna says is true, George agrees to help her. The two flee the safe house and find a main road, where they're met by the man who followed Anna earlier. He offers them a ride, claiming to be a friend, and the two, desperate to escape, agree. The man introduces himself as Eli and takes Anna and George to his safe house. There, Eli introduces Anna and George to an enhanced named Lou, who lives with him. George unintentionally antagonizes Lou, but Eli diffuses the situation, explaining that they're all on the same side now. Eli shares that he also once worked for CISA but as an analyst. He was completely unaware of the inhumane experiments occurring in the background until the day that David freed the enhanced. It was then that Eli met Lou, who saved him from being killed by David, and they've lived together ever since. Eli further reveals that CISA planned to create a serum that can give anyone the powers of an enhanced and began these experiments after opening a door to another dimension. This dimension is made of infinite energy and knows no concept of entropy. Eli explains that David isn't actually human but a being from this energy dimension who CISA captured to harness his power. The company managed to extract some of David's power, which they injected into other test subjects, creating enhanced humans like Lou, Joseph, and Anna. However, after having his power stolen, David grew weaker and lost the ability to travel to his home dimension. He now hunts down and eliminates enhanced, as that is the only way he can reclaim his power and go home. Since finding out the truth about CISA, Eli has been researching ways to stop David but has been unsuccessful, as David is a being of pure energy that cannot age or be permanently killed. Eli posits that the only way to beat David would be to weaken him somehow and eliminate him. George suggests that he return to the CISA facility and share this information, believing that enough of their weapons and weakening serum can stop David for good. But before George can leave, David enters. Lou yells for George and Anna to run for the back exit while he keeps David distracted. The two comply and run as David begins to fight Lou. Lou tries to buy time for Anna and George, but Lou is quickly overpowered and eliminated, as David also kills and reclaims his powers from Lou. David quickly goes after Anna as she attempts to start a car, and he tears the door off before tossing Anna into a shipping container. David then drops the container on Anna, crushing her and pinning her down as he begins killing her by draining his power from her. George stops David with a bargain, telling David he'll take him to the CISA facility where the other enhanced are held if he spares Anna's life. David accepts this offer, leaving Anna stuck under the container for later. As David and George drive toward the CISA facility, George questions David on his motives. David openly expresses his hatred and disgust for this dimension, calling it dirty and primal. David desires to return to his dimension and never return, adding that he pities George for having to live in such a world. While David continues talking, George distracts him and pushes David out of the driver's seat, as there is no longer a door there. George then drives away to warn the CISA facility. Meanwhile, Anna summons all of her power to free herself from under the container and begins making her way toward the CISA facility herself. Once at the facility, George is stopped by armed soldiers and brought into custody, as they view him as a traitor. George meets with Williams and Scott and informs them of the situation. Williams doesn't fully believe George, though, and reveals several mind-controlled enhanced. George tries to explain that if David eliminates the enhanced, he can become more powerful, but Williams brushes him off. Then an alarm goes off, notifying them of David's arrival. Williams locks George in a prison cell and orders the enhanced to stop David, but, as George predicted, he easily kills them, absorbing their power in the process. Before they know it, David breaks into the secure lockup room Williams and George are in without any issues. David vaporizes Williams and turns to George's cell menacingly. David claims he will make George and Anna suffer, and Anna suddenly appears to fight David. Anna tries attacking David, but he effortlessly stops her in midair, far too powerful to fight alone. Aided by Scott, George breaks out of his cell while Anna is brutally beaten down by David. David moves to finish Anna, but George activates a gas that weakens David greatly. Now much weaker, David gets beaten and defeated by Anna, who picks up a gun to shoot David. David pleads for his life, and Anna shows mercy, but George is not so kind and takes the gun from Anna, shooting David without hesitation. 4 months later, George and Anna meet on a quiet road. Anna is now a car mechanic, as she was previously, and George hands her a list of all of the other enhanced. He asks for Anna to help him give them a chance at a normal life, and Anna agrees. Elsewhere, David appears at the house of an enhanced, fully alive and well. David simply tells the enhanced man that he has something of his, in an ominous tone, before attacking. Thus, we reach the end of this film. Thanks for watching. You can like this video to support us. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. See you in the next video. Goodbye.